so bad. I didn't know our video did not post correctly last night. So I'm going to read a few chapters today for you in Dinosaurs Before Dark. We are going to go back a little bit. Remember, Jack and Annie had found some nests with eggs. So let's start in Dinosaur Valley. This is chapter 6. Annie, look at this, Jack called. Look what I found. Annie had gone up the hilltop. She was picking flowers from a magnolia tree. Annie, look, it's a medallion, said Jack. Oh yeah, remember? He found a medallion. The gold medallion had the letter M on it. Jack heard a sound all of a sudden. It was like a tuba. And Annie called, Jack, come here quick. Jack raced up the hill, and when he got to the top, he gasped. The valley below was filled with nests, big nests made out of mud, and the nests were filled with tiny dinosaurs. Annie was crouching next to one when all of a sudden he saw the towering, gigantic, duck-billed dinosaur next to her. Don't panic, he said. Don't move, Annie. He stepped slowly down the hill toward Annie. The huge dinosaur was waving her arms and making a tuba sound. Jack stopped. He didn't want to get too close. Okay, move toward me slowly, he said. Annie, don't stand up, as she started to stand up. You need to crawl. She held her flower close and she went towards Jack. She could hear the billowing dinosaur make loud noises, and she froze. Keep going, Jack said. Annie started crawling again. Jack inched further down the hall until he was just an arm's distance from Annie. He reached out and he grabbed her hand, and he pulled Annie toward him. Stay down, Jack said. He crouched next to her. Bow your head and pretend to chew. Chew, she said. Yes, said Jack. I read that's what you're supposed to do, especially with animals who aren't too happy. I read that once about dogs. If a dog comes at you, just chew, Jack said. Annie said, she's no dog. Just chew anyway, Jack said. Jack and Annie both bowed their heads, and they pretended to chew. And soon the dinosaur became quiet. Jack looked up. I don't think she's mad anymore, he said. You saved me, said Annie. Thank you. You have to use your brain, Annie, said Jack. You can't just go running to a nest of babies. There's always a mother nearby. Annie stood up. Annie, don't, Jack said. It was too late. Annie was up and holding her magnolia flower out to the dinosaur. I'm sorry I made you worry, she said, and she handed the flower to the dinosaur. The dinosaur grabbed the flower from her hand, and she reached for another. No more, said Annie. Just one. The dinosaur let out a sad tuba sound. But there are more flowers up on the hill. She pointed to the top for the dinosaur and said, I'll get you some. Annie hurried up the hill, and the dinosaur waddled after her. Jack quickly looked at the dinosaur babies. Some were crawling out of their nests. Where are their mothers, he wondered. Jack took out the dinosaur book. He flipped through the pages, and he found the picture of the duck-billed dinosaurs. And he read the caption. That means the little information box. The Anatosauruses lived in colonies. While a few mothers babysat the nests, others went looking for food. So there were probably more mothers close by looking for food. Hey, Jack, called Annie. Jack looked up. Annie was at the top of the hill, feeding magnolia flowers to giant Anatosaurus. Guess what? Annie said. She's nice, too. Suddenly, the dinosaur made a terrible sound, and Annie crouched down and started to chew, afraid again. The dinosaur charged down the hill. She was afraid of something. Jack put the book on top of his pack, and he hurried to Annie. I wonder why she ran away, said Annie. We're starting to be friends, and she left. Jack looked around, and what he saw in the distance almost made him faint. What do you think it is? It was an enormous monster coming near them. So here's a picture of the dinosaur running away, and then Jack and Annie. And you can see Annie's crouched down. Remember, she was chewing. So the dinosaur's running away. Jack saw in the distance a monster walking on 2 strong legs. It was swinging a long, thick tail, and it had dangling tiny arms. I bet I know what this is. Do you know what it is? It had a huge head, and its jaws were wide open. Even from far away, Jack could see that it had long, gleaming teeth. It's a Tyrannosaurus Rex, Jack whispered. Chapter 7. Ready, set, go. Run, Annie, run, cried Jack. Run to the treehouse. Jack and Annie dashed down the hill together. They ran through the tall grass and ferns, past the pteranodon. They scrambled up the rope ladder and tumbled into the treehouse. Annie leaped to the window. It's going away, she said. Jack pushed his glasses into place, and he looked out the window with Annie. The Tyrannosaurus was wandering off. But then the monster stopped and turned around. The two of them ducked their heads, and after a long moment they peeked out the window again. Coast is clear, said Jack. That means the dinosaur was gone. Yay, whispered Annie. We have to get out of here, said Jack. You made a wish before, said Annie. Right, said Jack. He took a deep breath. I wish we could go back to Frog Creek. But nothing happened. I said I wish, Oh, wait. You were looking at a picture of a dinosaur in the dinosaur book, remember? Oh, no. I left the book and my pack on the hill, said Jack. I have to go back. Oh, no. What's going to happen? Forget it, said Annie. I can't, said Jack. I have to get the book, and I have to get my pack and my journals in there. Okay, said Annie. I'll hurry, said Jack. And he leapt down onto the ground. He ran past the pteranodon, through the ferns, through the forest, and he found his pack lying on the ground with a dinosaur book on it. He looked below, and he thought, where were all the dinosaurs that had been here? Something scared the T-Rex? Jack took a deep breath. Ready, set, go, he thought. The Natosauruses were gone. The Tyrannosaurus was gone. He charged down the hill. He ran to his backpack. He scooped it up. He grabbed the dinosaur book, and he heard the terrible tuba sound he was hoping he wouldn't hear. And then another and another. All the Antosauruses were bellowing at him. Jack took off. He raced up the hill, and then he went down the hill, and he stopped. The T-Rex was back, and it was standing between Jack and the treehouse. Chapter 8. Giant Shadow. Jack jumped behind the magnolia tree. His heart was beating so fast he could hardly think. He peeked at the big monster. The horrible-looking creature was opening and closing its big jaws. Its teeth were as big as steak knives. Don't panic, he thought. Don't panic. He peered into the valley, and he thought, good. The duck-billed dinosaurs were sticking close to their nests. Jack looked at the T-Rex once more, and he thought, the monster doesn't know I'm here. Don't panic, he thought to himself. Think, maybe there's information in the book. So Jack opened the dinosaur book, and he found the T-Rex, and he read, T-Rex was one of the largest meat-eating land animals of all time. If it were alive today, it could eat a human in one bite. Oh, that's bad, Jack thought. The book was no help at all. Jack tried to think clearly, and he couldn't hide, and he couldn't go to the other side of the hill. And the Anatosauruses might stampede, and he was worried about that. He couldn't run to the treehouse. The only thing he could do was run faster than the T-Rex. Could he do it? Maybe he should just wait for the monster to leave. But then he peeked around the treehouse. The Tyrannosaurus had wandered closer to the hill, and then something caught Jack's eye. What do you think's happening? Annie was coming down from the treehouse on the rope ladder. And there's the T-Rex, really close. Is she nuts, he thought? What is she doing? Jack couldn't help but wonder. Jack watched Annie hop off the ladder. Annie hurried over to the pteranodon. She was talking to him. She was flapping her arms, and she pointed at Jack at the sky and then the treehouse. She is crazy, Jack thought. Go back up in the tree, Jack said. Go. Jack heard a roar. The T-Rex was looking in his direction, and then he hit the ground, hoping the T-Rex wouldn't see him. The Tyrannosaurus Rex was coming toward the hill. Jack felt the whole ground shaking What should I do? Jack wondered. Should I run, crawl back into Dinosaur Valley, climb the magnolia tree? Suddenly, a giant shadow covered Jack, and he looked up. The pteranodon was gliding overhead. The giant creature sailed toward the top of the hill. He was heading towards Jack. Okay, we have 2 more chapters left. I'm going to read those later on tonight so we can finish our book. I hope you enjoy reading this. And again, I'm so sorry our video didn't post last night. I had no idea until this morning. Have a good day, my friends.